What is up, everybody? Tom here again, and today we're going to change a high pressure hose on your power steering. Well, I've been driving this Prelude for a while now with this turbo setup, and I've had power steering with it, and I love power steering. And the Prelude curse hit me the other day. I was driving around, and the next thing you know, I had no power steering. And it's hard to see here in the hose. This is your high pressure line for your power steering. And this goes all the way back down here to your manifold. This is your, so hard to get in here, but down here, right here, if you can see my finger, this is where your steering wheel shaft goes into your power steering rack. And if you see right down here, where all of that, all those lines kind of go into that manifold here, these are all your power steering hoses and lines that either send power steering fluid to the rack or send it up here to your pump. So this is your high pressure hose. So basically what's happening is as this is spinning, it's creating pressure because this is a pump. It's creating pressure, sending it back to your manifold, and basically allowing, as you turn the steering wheel, it's opening or closing, or I should say opening and closing a valve on either side of your rack, causing your rack to push fluid this direction or this direction. So today we have to replace the hose that is right here. It's kind of like a J hose. That's your high pressure power steering hose. And I have had a second Prelude, a 5th gen. So I had this hose that I took off before that one went to the junkyard. I sent it to a buddy, and Lorenzo ended up not needing it. So I ended up getting it back from him. So we're just gonna swap this one onto this one. So I've never done this before with the engine in the bay. It's probably gonna be more annoying, but first of all, the first thing I have to do is take these 2 bolts out here just to loosen this whole hose up. But I have to get down in here and remove that connector right there, spin that connector out. But if you see right there, there's a strap clamp that holds the line down in that rubber grommet. So I got to get my hand all the way down in there and remove that first, even before I can start messing with this, just because that one's going to be the ball buster. So this video is gonna be a little bit difficult for me to actually videotape me doing it down in there, but just wanted to give you guys that that walkthrough, and I'm gonna go and get this done. If you wanna watch, please and thank you. All right, guys, so this should be semi-interesting here. I have the head camera on, and got my hand camera here. So I just was able to, disconnected this. I was just able to get down in there and disconnect the bolt that is way back there. Let me see if I can get the zoom to zoom that close in. But right down in there, right there, that strap bolt is now loose. So the only thing I have to take off now, it's just that guy down there. So I'm gonna get on it. So just get back on the time lapse here. It's just too difficult for me to really record aside from what I'm getting on the head camera, which first time using that. So we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, so got the hose out. This is the one here that just came out of the car. One thing I did want to mention is you do have to disconnect this high pressure sensor right here. But at the same time, I wasn't worried about that in the beginning, just because it's kind of hard to get to in some aspects unless you get under the car. And I try not to get under the car unless I absolutely have to. So what I did is I pulled the high pressure hose up towards me after it was disconnected here. This is the strap clamp that goes over top of it. And once it was within reach, I was able to pop that clip off, no problem. Now we're gonna go and put the new one back in there. I think the most challenging part is going to be trying to get the strap clamp back down and over. So the strap clamp was on this little rubber grommet here. I just lifted it off. It's not, wrapped around like some of the other ones on a Prelude. So I'm just gonna put the hose, fish the hose back down through, and put the strap clamp right back on it. So one thing that you might not have seen in the time lapse is as I was pulling this out, it was very difficult. Uh-oh, my flashlight's flashing, that's not good. Shut this off as I drop it. One thing that you do want to keep in mind is that this bottom portion here kind of has like a hook to it. And that hook part, if you try to pull it straight up out of this little hole down here, you're gonna try to catch, you're gonna end up catching a lot of wires. So take your time. And what I ended up doing was fishing this part, because it's situated like this. I ended up grabbing this part and pulling it up and fishing that slimmer end back up through the hole. So I hope that makes sense. That should make this job a little bit easier. But I'm gonna get back to the installation here, and hopefully we'll take it for a whip. All right, guys, so we're all done getting that power steering line into the engine bay here, the new one. As you can see, I don't have a gasket for this, so I put RTV under there. I know it won't leak like that. I did it before. And like I suspected, that bolt that holds the strap clamp on here was the most difficult to get back in. Getting the piece in the manifold was easy. Reconnecting the high pressure sensor wires was very easy. One thing I do want to note is I put the power steering line, screwed it slightly into the manifold first. That way I knew that if I tightened that bolt down, the strap clamp, just a little bit skewed, it wouldn't cause me to have difficulty trying to get that nipple back in there, because once that nipple gets cross-threaded, you're either changing the new line or changing the manifold, which you don't want to do because that's all one piece. So I'm done here. I'm going to be throwing on my power steering belt, which I might just throw this in the video because I've been driving the car without it. If you ever have this problem happen where you have a leak in your power steering line here, your high pressure hose, just take the pulley off, or take the belt off the pulley, and then that pump won't be running, so there won't be any high pressure in there, and that's why I don't have power steering. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on here real quick, and that's just a matter of loosening up this bolt here, and then there's a tensioner right here. This bolt right here pulls this whole rack up, so you're gonna loosen this bolt, and then there's one right down under here. So you gotta loosen this one, and then start unloosening this one to give yourself more slack in order to get this power steering belt back on. So I'm gonna go do that. Got the belt back on. It is time to do a pressure test. And just for your future reference, this is a 10 millimeter. These are two 12s right here that tighten that guy up. It's hard to always tell how tight you're supposed to have all these belts. This is probably too tight, but I know I lost my power steering once with this motor since I rev it out real high. So I always put it on, just about that tight, or if you want to hear the tone, that's what I do. So not perfect, but sometimes it's what you got to do. But we have the belt back on, everything's tightened up. Granted, I should probably wait till this RTV actually cures, but it's not very warm out. And down in here is where we're going to be looking for leaks, especially here, and in this hose right here. I had a bunch of pinhole leaks in there before. So get my car started up here. Man, I haven't driven this Prelude in a while. Ugh. See if she starts up here. Oh, yeah. That was a weird noise, but gotta grab my flashlight again. Been freaking killing this thing. Doesn't look like we have any leaks there. like we have any leaks down there either. That looks good. Next thing, you're gonna look for the pinhole leaks in this rubber. We're looking pretty good there. All right, guys, well, you saw the whole process there, or at least most of it, how to change that high pressure power steering line. And she's good to go now. She's got power steering. Whoop, whoop. I might be shooting some video of the T-Bird motor. It needs to get pulled and needs to just get a refresh. So we'll see how much you guys actually love me with my channel. But in all reality, Preludes are Hondas, and Hondas and Fords are like the most hated car manufacturers. So maybe this will be a good thing. But guys, thanks for watching. Come back and see me again here at the State of Real. And until next time, later.